Hey Wargamers, welcome back to the channel, Death from Above Wargaming. I'm Aaron, and I'm here with some very unscripted content. You might be wondering why we haven't provided any exciting updates on the Kickstarter lately. Well, just like you, we are still waiting patiently for it, so don't worry. As soon as we have it, we've got an unboxing and more than, I think it's like 19 different videos that we will trickle out to you guys over the next few months. Doing deep dives into each of the exciting boxes and the miniatures therein. But until then, I wanted to do something to hold you over. We've got obviously Battlelytics and battle reports, but I just had a hankering for something different. Unless you've been living under a rock, you may have noticed we've been releasing shorts every Friday, and a lot of those shorts feature mechs that I have kit bashed. I've gotten a lot of emails and comments on Discord and messages and things like that asking, how I do it and why I am so cruel and unusual to the donor mechs. Well, tonight you're going to see it totally unscripted. I decided to do this afternoon. I went through the box. I pulled some mechs out. So what we're going to do is we're going to modify this Wolverine into the WVR-9W2 variant. So that variant has an MML, MML5, and that is actually shoulder mounted based on the artwork. It also has twin light PPCs in place of that autocannon. It adds a laser on the arm. I believe it has a laser on the head. It removes the laser in that right torso as well. We're also going to repose them. And I'm going to do some other crazy things too involving perhaps changing out arms and things like that. Lots of heresy ahead. So, guys, I've got lots of cameras here, so hopefully I get you lots of good camera angles. We'll go through the tools, we'll go through all the things, so stick around. Kit bash session, it's coming right up. All right, and we're back. So first and foremost, I'm going to go over sort of all the crap I have here at my workstation. But here's what I've got. Obviously, first and foremost, weapon of choice here, X-Acto knives. And of course, I have spare blades, fresh blades, depending on how clean you want the cut. I've got my little mini saw. You can get like a jeweler, so you can get whatever you want, but I think it's really useful to have something that saws. I've got the bone saw for particularly heavy-duty things. So got that. They got the old pin vise, right? This is basically just like a hand drill. And it's got tiny, tiny little bits. So I might need that. Like I'll use this if I want to drill out, the barrel on a gun, or if I want to drill out a little hole to put the antenna in, or if I need to create space to, fit or recess a laser into a body part. Anyway, got some metal snips here, but these are great for plastic as well. I have regular little scissors. I use these also for my decals. And then I've got various sizes of what they call plastic card. And then I also have two different thickness index cards because I use these as well. Like on that Vulture that I did with the two HAG-20s, I use this to cover up the missile ports. It's much easier to cut. I will tell you, like rule number one is, you can try to plan and you can try to pick and choose the parts that you want to use. It doesn't always work out. And sometimes it goes horribly wrong and you end up just scrapping the Mini. It could happen tonight, we'll see. But the plan here is this. The first thing I want to do is I want to repose this guy. So I am going to loosen him up at the torso and I want to have him twisted facing, right now, basically he is facing to the left. I want to have him facing out this hex face to the right. But if you want to take them off the base, it's very easy to do. Just get the X-Acto knife, fit it in between the foot and the base, and just keep working it, and it will pop off pretty easily. The other thing that I want to do with this unit is I need to remove the SRM6 and replace it with an MML5. My donor for that I have planned is this Bushwhacker. It's got a very nice little missile launcher up in the top there. This Bushwhacker is already an amputee. I had to take other parts off this guy, but I'm going to continue doing that. So the MML is shoulder mounted. I mentioned that. It's not torso mounted. It's very weird. So I could just glue it to the side of the Wolverine arm, and I'm sure that would look fine. But But I had this Hellhound sitting around that I never finished, and I'm never going to finish it. I have so many other armies that I want to paint. I'm just never going to get there. So I was thinking, why don't I take the arm off the Hellhound? Because it matches up very nice, because this is basically the Wolverine 2C. And it has a nice flat panel for me to mount the MML to, and it also has a nice flat panel for me to mount the small laser to, because the small laser needs to go on that arm as well. So I may salvage some arms and things off this guy. I may even get crazy and salvage the other arm as well and just give it 2 arms, but we'll see how it looks once I do the first one. What else do I need to do? I need to do PPCs. So I have a few ideas here. I actually was looking at cutting apart an Atlas 2 because it has that gauntlet with the 2 large lasers on it, but it looked a little big. So I have this dude here, the Hellion. It's got the perfect arm laser, right? It's just got a little gauntlet of 2. They'll fit on there real nice, I think. So that's the goal, is we're gonna salvage the parts off this guy. There's a little laser on the Wolverine's chest. I want to cut that off. Now this Wolverine also has a C3 slave on it, so I was thinking like I could put a cool little antenna there, like coming out of his chest. I could take the antenna off the Hellion, but I have the Stinger here, also a former donor. I could put that on there. I think that would look actually really, really cool. I do have some other spare parts. I got a Mackie that, was a donor for something. I don't remember. So various things here that, basically that I could use. So just a couple of extra mechs. All right, so step 1, I want to get this torso off the body. That is step 1. Now, looking at the model, it does not look like a 2-piece at all. It looks like, like some of them, they actually just twist off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sharp X-Acto knife here. First thing is I'm going to score the Mini around the place that I want it to twist. Now sometimes when you score it, it will in fact, like you'll break the seal for the glue and you can just twist it by hand. This, I have a suspicion that's not going to happen. I think this is a solid piece all the way through, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. All right, very good. So I've gone around the whole Mini here. Now, one thing you'll notice is that I bent the autocannon doing it because I was putting pressure on it. Thankfully, I don't care because I'm replacing it. But definitely be careful when you're doing these things. Now, I'm trying to twist this thing. It's definitely not going anywhere, but I do see like it does look hollow in the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the saw now, and I'm going to try to get a little deeper in there. And you may be like, oh my God, it's gonna wreck the mech. I promise you, when you prime it and you paint over it and you clean it up, throw some decals on it, like no one's gonna notice. Oh, you know what? This arm is, I'm gonna pop this whole arm out. So, hopefully you can see this on the camera. I'm sure you can. So look at that. See, the whole ball socket just came out and now there's a nice little socket there. So we'll put this up on my little Lazy Susan. I love this thing. Whee! So now that arm's out of the way. That'll definitely help. Now, I've already told you that I want to take this arm off, so I'm going to go ahead and try to do the same thing. So now both the arms are off, and you see how quickly and easily they come up. Now this is great because it makes it super easy, number 1, to get to the torso, number 2, to get to that SRM6. That's going to be hard to get off cleanly. So what I'm thinking already is I'm going to need something, like you see how this is contoured real nicely here, and it's got that little seam. When I cut this off, it's going to look like crap. So I'm going to need to potentially find something to put there. Maybe it's like a little sensor pod. I don't know. I'll get creative with it. We'll worry about that later. So let's get back to the torso. All right, so I got the bone saw out, as you saw, because this thing was being particularly difficult, but we've got it at a point now where I can turn the upper torso and it is still attached. Now there's a lot of fuzz around this thing that I'm gonna have to clean up with a file at some point, or maybe just clean it up actually with the X-Acto knife. So you can kind of see in the body of that, you know, in that cavity, if you will, the body cavity of the Wolverine. Sounds awful. There's a lot of, you know, plastic fuzz. When you paint that, if you try to prime that, that's going to look like crap. So you got to get that out, which we can do, no problemo. So here it is. All right. The next thing I need to do is take off the SRM, which is problematic. That's going to be a problem. I'll tell you why it's going to be a problem. It's going to be the same thing as the torso. That is a solid, molded on piece. So when I cut that off, again, there's going to be sort of that flat panel. I will at some point glue this torso in place. The other great thing about this glue is it is gap filling. So any of those gaps and things that we see, it will kind of clean those up, and then when you paint over it again, you won't see it. So let's talk about the SRM. I don't want to put the arms on yet because I want to have the ability to get into the SRM. So this blade is okay, but it doesn't have the sharp point that I want. You know, the torsos are more of a hack and slash job. They're easy to clean up. Something like this, I really, really want a good blade. Now, there's nothing wrong with this blade, so I'm going to put it in the box at the bottom, you know, because if I need a blade to cut open a torso or hack an arm off, they're perfect for that. But if I want to do precision work and I want it to look good, I really do want a fresh X-Acto blade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace around the area that I want it to be removed, and I need to be very careful here. Notice what I'm doing here is I'm kind of going up on an angle. And I'm just going to kind of peel that back of that SRM away from the Wolverine. There it is. Okay. So, not a bad job. It did a pretty clean cut across the top. You know, obviously you can see some variations in the color of plastic. It's not going to be perfect. You know, it's missing the armor panel there. I was thinking about doing the C3 antenna over where the medium laser is, but I actually may put the apparatus to kind of hide some of the smoothness that is here, because I'll never recreate, you know, what we've got going on over here with this panel recess, even though, God, that's a mold line. That's an ugly mold line. And now I've got this very cool SRM6 launcher, which I can reuse. So let's start talking about arms. Now here's the problem, is this Hellhound's arms are not built the same way as the Wolverine's arms, in the sense that they're not like ball and socket. So I would need to cut these things off, and I'd have to be very, very careful about doing that. Now, I'm going to start underneath the mech. We'll see how this goes. If it goes poorly, we can always default back to my Wolverine, my standard Wolverine arms. All right, so you can see it, you know, basically what's important is working your way around and connecting every single cut so that you don't have, like, you know, a bunch of frayed edges. You know, it's all sort of one continuous cut when you're done. Here's another great thing about this modeling, this Uhu tack that's not really modeling putty, but I use it like modeling putty. I can stick a little on, I can do that, and I can say, oh, how does that look? You know, so you can see, that looks pretty cool. So the other thing we have is this arm. I don't know if I love this arm more than the regular old Wolverine arm. But one thing I would like to do, oh, actually that doesn't look too bad, does it, folks? I'll give you a quick peek here. Quick peek into what I'm seeing. Something like that, that looks pretty cool. And you'll see it'll have the, you know, the MML launcher on the shoulder there, which I think we'll get to next. And then I've got to obviously do the PPCs. MML next. All right, now this theoretically should be fairly easy. Now, you'll notice on this, and I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's a mounting bracket, you know, molded into the MML. I want to include that, but that mounting bracket will help hide imperfections underneath. So what I did was I basically cut all the way through, and now I'm working back to front, and again, connecting my scored lines, right? So that basically comes off in one clean piece with a flat, basically as flat as I can get on the bottom. I'm just going to kind of clean up some of the crap to try to get the bottom even flatter. Being very, very mindful and careful of the fact that I don't want to remove that bracket. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just get this guy on the shoulder like this, all right? We love that. We're going to glue this because we're going to let it sit, all right? Because we're not going to glue the arm on yet. So one thing I always do is I check to make sure that there's no glue clogged in the thing, because the worst thing that can happen is, you know, you're like squeezing and you need a little tiny bit of glue and it's like, and then it all comes out all over your model. I've had all of these things happen and none of them are fun. All right, so here we go. I'm going to scrape some of the paint off this because I want it to actually bond better. It'll score the surface up a little bit, and you can use your nail. There you go. All right, I got the, you can see there, I got the paint off. Drop a little bit of glue. You don't need a ton, and I don't need any tack on this because it's pretty good. Just a little bit, just a tiny little bead of glue there. You know, I'm gonna double check, make sure it's all facing the right direction. The other thing I love doing with this tack, check this one out, guys. When you have a part like this and you want it to dry and you don't want to lay it down, you can just do that. All right, and then I stick it on my Lazy Susan, and voila, we're good to go. So we got the MML done. We need a small laser on that arm, which will do probably last once that's like rock solid. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the gun barrel, the autocannon piece, and everything else. So we're going to move our bushwhacker donor. We're going to take a look at the Hellion, that's what it is. So looking at these guns here, so I think what I need to do is the following. Number one, just because it makes sense, the ammo ejection port and this whole ammo piece needs to come off of the mech. I am not going to try to be a hero and save the thing. I'm just going to cut off the ammo box, and then we're going to cut off the ejection port. And again, this is a pretty sharp knife. So look at that. I made a very nice cut, very nice and square. Perfect. I'm going to take both of these things. I'm going to put them in my bit spin because you never know. When you actually, you know what, this ammo box I'm going to leave because I could potentially use that to fill like a, you know, piece. It's just like a nice little, it's like a perfect square. And just looking at, again, the Hellion, the way that gun is set up, I'm going to take the autocannon off all the way back here. I want to be careful not to cut through the hand or anything that is valuable that I'm going to be keeping, but I do want to get this thing off. So here's what I need to do here. So I need to cut straight down at the hand. I hope you guys can see this. I have like 30 cameras going, so hopefully I can find an angle that you guys can see. All right, there we go. And that's that. Now, we still have the hand intact. We've still got some things going on there. Put that in there. Now, I'm not gonna take the entire thing all the way back. So if you look at this, right, it's like a whole assembly that goes all the way back here. I just want the barrels. From basically here forward, I'm gonna take that off and it's gonna slot right in here on this piece. And I'm just looking one more time at some of these other mechs that I had. These guns are way too big, way too big. There we go. Now our lasers are off. Now, this is very exciting. I've got the twin light PPCs from this Hellion. You know, I just want to kind of get it on right there like that, and I think it's going to look absolutely phenomenal. What we're going to do, though, guys, is we are going to use a little tiny bit of putty. This thing is so annoying because it's like this touch power, and I always end up touching because I keep my putty on this thing. I'm going to use a very, very tiny bit, and I mean like I roll like a snake and then I cut it with my nail type of thing, just a tiny bit. All right, now this guy's done, so we can pull this off. Maybe we'll work on the small laser next. I want to have this here because I'm going to put that arm in it for sure. All right. Now, this looks like crap in here. I might be able to paint it, like I could put a big caution square decal on there and that would hide it. Or I can try to find something else to do there. I'll have to think about that. All right, so let's move on to, so we got the MML done, we've got the light PPCs done. Let's remove the small laser from the torso, and then let's also fix the torso location. So we're going to start with just popping this laser off. So now let's talk about small lasers. So this guy's supposed to have a small laser on his right arm. Now, conveniently, this Hellion also has a tiny little laser on its opposite arm. So I could theoretically just drop that whole assembly on there, which could be pretty cool. Before we cut that off, let's take a look in here. Let's see what we got in the old bit spin, guys, shall we? Mad Cat. That doesn't look like a small laser at all. What's this? I don't mind that. I mean, it's a little big. It's a little big, but I don't mind it, guys. Maybe we take the back half of it off. I think this is actually from a Nova. One of the infinite Nova configurations that I have carved to pieces. So let's do this. Let's take the back half of this thing off, right here. Ooh, where'd that go? Who knows? And can we just do that? I think we can. All right, so check this out. I'm gonna glue this on, and then I'm gonna show you. You're gonna love it. Before I glue it though, remember, I wanna score this thing too, just because it was painted. So I wanna make sure that I get down to the business here. By that I mean the plastic. Do the same thing on this because this one was painted. Oh, that's already plastic. Very good. All right. I'm not going to use any putty on this one because this is a pretty smooth surface and it's a pretty smooth bit. So, you know, some may argue that that looks more like a medium laser, and you might be right, but you know what? Deal with it. One thing I could do is I could shorten the barrel and drill it out. All right, let's do it. We're gonna do it. Now I caused a problem because, oh no I didn't. Look at that, professional. Cut that thing right off. So when it's glued on, what I'll do is I'm gonna drill that out a little bit. Good. So what I'm going to do though is I want to throw a little bit more glue underneath just to hold it in place. And again, just such a tiny little bit goes a long way. So there's our arm laser. All right, hopefully you can see that. All right, very simple. So I'll drill out a little hole in there. I mean, to be quite honest, you could even just paint a black spot on there with a little bit of depth, and it will look just as good. All right, so we've got multiple arms done. We've got multiple weapons done. So now just looking at this side, just the challenge of trying to find a bit that fits on this would be problematic. What I can do is potentially put a little bit of plasticard over it. By plasticard, I mean this is actually just freaking index cards. Okay, so check this out. So I'm just kind of line it up. I'm going to cut a piece. I'm actually going to cut it just a little bit smaller than the space, so it actually gives it a little bit of depth as well. So there's like a ridge there, so it doesn't look like it's trying to come up to the edge. All right, and then what we're going to do here is just glue this guy down. And this is all just sort of improvisation, right? I haven't thought about this prior. I'm just sort of going with whatever comes to mind, because as you create these things, you will find that, you know, you run into issues and challenges and things that you did not anticipate. So there we go. All right. So all I did was I put a little piece of index card, heavy cardstock, if you will, on the gun barrel, or on the gun barrel. I'm sorry, on the side of the gun, just to try to cover up some of the imperfections in the plastic. One thing I like to do is I add little triangles, because little triangles are cool. And they almost give it like a, you know, more realistic, you know, more dimension, if you will. And you can't really see it until you paint it, you know, and then if you wash it, it comes out pretty good. I'll lick the knife because I'm a freaking weirdo, but it picks the stuff right up. Then the glue takes over. All right, there it is. So now I don't know if the camera can even pick this up, but you can see there is essentially like some depth to this gun, and it's got that little triangle piece. So what I can do is I can put like a little caution stripe along the bottom of it or something along those lines to make the whole thing pop when it's painted. But you know, of course, the decaling, who knows? We'll see when we get there. The other problem I need to solve is this this torso, this upper torso where I took the SRM-6 off. All right. So as far as weapons go, the only thing that I don't have on this mech really is a definitive laser on the head. Now it does have, again, it does have this little thing. It's not like the cleanest sculpted thing, and I could drill it out and it would look probably 1,000 times better if I did that. So I might just do that and go with what's there instead of making more work for myself that's unnecessary. But I do need to clean this up. Now I could use the same trick and use the heavier cardstock index card or something along those lines and build up that area. But it would be cool to have something else on there. I was thinking about taking this antenna off this Stinger, which again, I could do. In fact, I could take the whole top half of the Stinger's head. So let's start with doing a lobotomy on this Stinger. Let's see how this looks, okay? That actually looks really cool. I think it does. I just have to put something on the front, and I think I know just the thing. So, all right, a couple of things here. Number one, put that in the barrel. Number two, I need to create some clean space here because I want to start pulling stuff out because I'm looking for certain things. I don't want that. Like what I'm looking for is a grill. There was a little tiny grill that I had. And I wanted to put it on there because I thought that would be perfect. Ooh, look at these things. Oh, this is gonna be good. All right, so check this out. Can I pull this off? So these Mechs have these little X plates. I'm gonna try to shave one right off. Let's see. So this one took a little bit of finesse because it's such a freaking tiny part. But I think we got it on there, and I feel really good about the way that assembly looks. I think that'll paint up really nicely. Again, you know, you use primer, it's gonna fill in a lot of those little cracks and things like that. I can put just a little bit of extra glue along the top here. All right, and what I like to do is just kind of blow it in the cracks, as it were. So last thing is this is gonna go on the shoulder, all right? And I think it's gonna look fine where we have it. However, because this is such just a mess, we're not just gonna use glue, we are gonna use some putty. wraps up there on what we have going on. I'm very happy with the way that turned out. I think it looks super, super cool. Now, the question is, how's this arm doing? This arm's looking really, really good, don't you think? I think so. Love the MML, love the little laser. We're gonna drill this puppy out. Now, one of the things that I will do is 100%, I will get a blade and start the hole with something with a very sharp tip, because if you just try to drill in, you know, absent that, you're gonna have problems. Oh yeah, that's good. All right, cool. So I just got all of the fuzz, the plastic fuzz out. You probably can't see that. Maybe you can. I don't know. We're in 5.3K, but there is the little hole there for the small laser. So that looks pretty sharp. Okay, so now I think the next step is to get this torso in a position where I feel really good about my life. Now, I want it looking on one of the hex faces. So if I want it looking out this way, then, you know, the question is that like too much? And should I move the legs? I don't know. I'll tell you one thing I want to do is I want to cut this stupid, like it has like the support thing on the foot, you know what I'm talking about? Like, and then you paint it black and it looks kind of dumb, so I'm just gonna cut it off because I hate it. How about that? I'm already here. Gonna make magic happen. It's gone. It just went right on the floor. So there, I just cut that little thing out. Now, what we can do is, you know, maybe I won't do a full repose of the leg, but I can definitely bring that leg up. Very cool. So now he's kind of, I can kind of have him leaning as he's running, right? And I can even, oh, look at this. I can twist him on the peg. God, everything's coming together for me. And then we can kind of have him facing this way. That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. So, if I have him like, oh, well, he just came off the base. So we're gonna glue it back down. The big issue with why I was twisting it is because it wasn't like centered on the base. That kind of gets me a little annoyed. So if I do this, right, and pull one forward and push one back, which gives us that sort of running pose that we wanted in the very beginning, and I put it here, this thing is going to be a problem if I don't clean it up. There we go. That's good. I'll be able to spray paint right over that. You'll never know the difference. All right, so we want his leg is a little bit this way because we want to twist it to the right. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Step one is glue this thing down, but I would love to glue it down over the imperfection. All right, that'll make my life just a little bit more easy. While we're waiting for this to dry, all right, which won't take long. While we're waiting, let's clean out my glue again. And then let's go through these bits and just take a quick peek at, you know, if there's any cool power converters or anything that looks sweet from another model. All right, so I found this this like little barrel thing from the Nova Cat, and I think it would actually fit on there and would look great. So I'm gonna try to cut this guy off. Okay, so let's see how this looks. Factory. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable, as they say. All right, so maybe you can see that, maybe you can't. Absolutely love it. I'm gonna put a little bit more glue than I think I need because there's like a recess and I think the glue's gonna get caught in that. I'm gonna smear this thing around back and forth. I think that's the money right there. So check that out. I love the way that looks. No idea that it was gonna fit so perfectly, but sometimes it works out like that. Just happened to cover all the space just right. So far now we've used the Novacat, a Hellion, and the Bushwhacker, and the Mackie. How's our model doing here? Looks, you know, looks pretty glued. All right, we got nice little bit more of an action pose, not too crazy. And then he's going to be looking this way. What I need to do, my friends, is I'm going to have to get a good amount of putty here. This is where it gets kind of weird because if you use too much putty, it's no good. I think I mentioned that already. Don't want to, you know, but I need to be able to like kind of squish it down in and around this whole thing. So I'm going to get a good amount of glue on there as well. I'm so excited we're getting close to the end here. While that is drying, you know, what I want to do next, this is insane. I don't know why I'm doing it in this order. I should have did this first, is I want to drill out that head laser. So we're going to get our drill, but I want to get this, remember what I told you guys before is I use a brand new blade. It's got an extremely sharp point. I think, guys, I think the next thing here is just arms go on, and oh, that's right, we did this super awesome Novacat thing on it. Oh, it looks so good. God, that looks good. All right, so we want this probably to be like that. I really love the way that looks. The nice thing is we're really not going to need to do too much. We're not going to need to do putty or anything like that because we still have the sort of the ball socket. I want to make sure, I'm going to get real low and look. I want to make sure this thing is, yeah, like pointing in the right direction. It's so important to me. Oh, guys, this is looking so good. I am freaking digging this model. I am pumped at how this turned out. And then this arm, all right? So we've got the MML, we've got the laser, all right? Now the question is, so here's a little thing here. So you'll see that this still has some of the plastic from the ball socket in there, and then the Hellhound arm does not have a ball socket. So if I try to glue it, it's not going to get great contact area. This is another great putty candidate where you could kind of fill that hole in and create almost like a flat surface for the arm to stick to. Now, the other thing I need to do, this looks like crap over here. I did not clean up the inside of this Hellhound's arm, which now it is Conjurer, I should say. Okay, we're ready. We're ready for the final piece here, guys. I can't believe this actually freaking worked. This is unbelievable. I kind of want this arm sort of back and down, but I also want the MML pointing up. So I think we're just gonna do it like that. Last step, here we go. This is so exciting. I'm gonna put this in, a little glue, all right? I don't wanna go nuts with the putty, but I do want a significant amount in there. Now we're gonna smear it around a little, create a nice flat surface, and we're gonna angle this up like so. I wanna check the back of this thing too. It feels like the arm is too far forward. Yeah, it was. Good thing we corrected that. I am so pumped about this, guys. This thing looks freaking awesome. So here it is, the Wolverine WVR-9W2, I believe. All right, so we've represented all of the weapons. All right, lasers, the light PPCs, the MML, it's got the C3, or whatever that is. I mean, even if you don't want it to be a C3, it could be just a comms array, which covers up where the SRM6 was. This is absolutely terrific. So that's it. All right, that's what you get. I am going to throw this thing up on the turntable so that you can get some shots. You'll probably have seen them already, or you're looking at them now. I am absolutely thrilled with the way this thing came out. I hope you enjoyed this this journey with me. I hope you got maybe a little bit of an idea of what it takes and what's involved in converting a mech. You know, end to end, I think this probably took, I want to say maybe 2 hours. I know I did some fast forwarding. I only lost one of the pieces once. I lost the little front on the thing we took from the Mackie. Like when I was trying to pick it up, it shot somewhere. These things happen, but I did find it. It didn't go very far. But everything else was pretty seamless. I'm very, very excited about it. I liked sort of the updated pose. I love the torso twist. I love everything about this mech, and I hope you love it too. Now, that said, a couple of things. Where do you get spare mechs? You can get them over at Ares Games and Minis. You can get your non-spare mechs over at Ares Games and Minis. Everything you want over there, including the things I'm going to use in the next step. Paint, brushes, decals, all of those things you can get as well. So definitely check out Derek over at Ares Games and Minis. Phenomenal prices, phenomenal products, and excellent service. Also, if you want to get more involved in the channel and you want to see what's going on behind the scenes, you can head on over to Patreon. It's as little as $1 a month. And there are other tiers as well that get you more and more involved in the channel. And if you don't want to spend any money, that's okay. You can just hit that subscribe button, like, and leave a comment. That helps get the video out in the wild within YouTube. But of course, thank you to all of our patrons who allow me to chop up all of these mechs for you. They keep the lights on and all of our wonderful cameras rolling. So thanks again to our great patrons. But that said, guys, fingers crossed on the Kickstarter. If you've got it, I'm so happy for you. And if you haven't, hang in there. We will commiserate on Discord until we get it. But as soon as we have it, we'll bring you those reviews. I'm very, very excited to do that. But that said, guys, I'm all wrapped up. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, stay tuned. Always great stuff coming from Death from Above Wargaming. Have a good night.